San Felipe 250 recap video, and it is Thursday after the race, and usually I like to give it a couple days for everything to process, for everything to kind of settle in and let everything sink to where it's supposed to, because the thoughts that run through your head after a complicated race like we had on Saturday are not necessarily worth sharing, and I don't think would be a good representation of what we strive for at the team, because there's a lot of, unfortunately, negative thoughts that kind of creep into your head, and we want to make sure that those, we deal with those internally and we process them, and then I give about as an objective recap of the race as possible. Obviously there's always some subjectivity to these things coming from my mouth, coming from each individual's point of view, but like, again, it's a difficult pill to swallow, and it is what it is, but we'll walk through it right now and see what we learned. Obviously one of the big one of the big emphasis that we had for the year, for 2025, was to qualify better, and I think that obviously was successful. I mean, qualifying first place for this race was definitely something that we worked all off season to accomplish, to get some top 5 qualifying positions. But we knew, I knew as a driver, we knew as a team, that starting first place or qualifying first place, even though we got a nice trophy for it, and it feels great to be the first truck on the road and to kind of be that kickoff, right, for every single fan that's in the first 170 miles of the race. To first truck that they see is the 21 in Nahual. That feels pretty damn good, but at the end of the day, we knew as a team that we hadn't accomplished anything. To that point, qualifying first, it's nice, but in my opinion, if there's a race where you don't have to qualify first, it's San Felipe. There's thousands, hundreds of lines out there that can be used during the race. So it doesn't, I'm not making it less at all. I think that was a great accomplishment. It's just that we knew going into Saturday that it meant very little. Now, it's not like a Baja 500 or Baja 400 where it's single track, and getting around someone is a lot more complicated. And that is where you probably want to qualify in the top 3. But another weird thing about qualifying up front that obviously I didn't really know, because we've run out front, but we've moved through the pack to run up front. You have very little information. You're out there by yourself. There's your chase trucks, you kind of go by, and then they're moving to the next spot. They're not waiting 10 vehicles deep, to give you good time. So you're kind of out by, running by yourself, and when you start 5th or 6th, you see who you're passing. You have a great idea of where you're at, because your chase trucks are letting who's in front of you, what the lead time, what the time is to the first place guy, what exactly the right neck back behind you looks like. So there's more flow of information when you're sort of hunting instead of being hunted. And that was different. I mean, it was unique, I guess, for us in a really long time. But again, we all knew as a team that starting first, we were proud of it, but it didn't mean anything. And Saturday morning, we set a plan out that we wanted to run. We wanted to run our race, and obviously keep a really close eye on Bryce, who was right behind us. See what pace he was running, see what pace Luke was running, see what pace Alan was running, and then adjust accordingly to them, not have them adjust to us. I know it was a quick pace all day. I think that's what this has really turned into. Off-road racing's really turned into everything's a damn sprint races except for the Baja 1000. But so that was the plan going in. I was extremely comfortable with the plan. I had made peace with my plan, and I think we executed really well the first 55 miles. We were about a minute 38 in front of Bryce. I was taking care of the truck in the fast whoops because we've had issues with tire composition in the past, going through the fast whoop. So I was being extremely careful, sometimes going in the low 70s, high 60s even, just to try and make sure that coveted, I guess, first place on the road position, we never gave it up. But unfortunately, at around race mile 56 or so, we ended up suffering a tire failure. And it's, Javi did a phenomenal job in terms of changing the tire. We had a minute 38 on Bryce at that point. He got within 15 seconds of us when we were done changing the tire. Javi did a great job in changing it. So we never lost our position, but at the end of the day, you were so careful and you're so cautious, about taking care of the truck, and you still have this failure. It's in the back of your head, and it's in your mind, and it has to do with confidence. And if I was babying the truck through certain things to make sure this didn't happen, and it still happened anyways, it's just a mind fuck. And now you're living with that, and you still have 200 miles to go, and that's never good. I don't think that's ever good. And I think it put us in a different position. We still pushed. Like I said, Bryce got within 15 seconds of us. We were able to build that lead back up to about a minute 30. Now, Bryce was having issues. Obviously, that's not something that is normal. Bryce is a great driver, and you just don't put a minute 15 on Bryce if he's having a good day. So we were able to go to a minute 30 again. And when we got to 115, which is basically where you kind of head out to Morelia Road, get down Morelia Road, and then you start heading south into Matomi, into the washes, sort of the last civilization, pit-wise, that there is, we stopped and re-racked a tire. At this point, when we left the re-rack, we heard that the next truck was a minute 5 behind us. So minute 5, we're like, okay, well, Bryce put 30 seconds on us on the re-rack. That's normal. But we hear it's Alan. Alan is a minute 5 behind us, and I mean it makes sense, right? I mean, minute 30 to change the tire, plus about 30 seconds to re-rack. Then a minute behind us. Alan started 3 minutes behind us. Okay, it made sense. I think Alan got by Luke in his pit, which was right before that, maybe race mile 105 or 110 or so. So we've got Alan behind us. I'm comfortable with that. We still got a minute on him, and we're basically running the same pace, obviously eliminating the tire and the re-rack. We come down into Matomi, and about halfway through Matomi, race mile 125, 128, around there, I did clip a rock. Again, right rear tire, and instant failure. We had a flat. Javi gets out again, does a amazing job, changes the tire, and at this point I think we'd put another maybe 15 seconds on Alan to where he was maybe a minute 20 behind us. But obviously in that second flat, he closed the gap to 12 seconds. So now we have Alan 12 seconds behind us coming out of Matomi. We start coming up the wash into our main pit at 160. And it varies, right? 12 seconds, 17 seconds. He's right there. He's pushing. He smells blood. And I'm like, okay, well, we just need to figure out what his pit strategy is. And is he going to stop at 160? Did he already stop like Luke already stopped? Or where are we exactly, right? So we turn onto Puertecitos Road, and I see his pit on the left-hand side. I'm like, okay, perfect. Alan is stopping here. So Javi and I decide that we're only taking fuel. We're not changing tires. We're not getting a re-rack at the main pit. We're just taking on fuel. At this point, probably 2 miles before that, we clipped the rock, but it didn't seem... obviously, there was no issue. We didn't suffer a flat from it. But Monday morning quarterback and what happened next tells me that we developed a bubble on the tire from clipping this rock. So we clip this rock and get to the pit. We end up taking fuel, and we leave. And they say, hey, next truck is 5 seconds behind us. I'm like, okay, well, Alan is 5 seconds behind us. We were able to beat him out of the pit. He probably had a super pit as well. And they say, well, no, it's Luke. Luke passed Alan in his pit, and now Luke is 5 seconds behind us. I'm like, all right, well, we're dealing with Luke 5 seconds behind us, and then probably Alan another 15 to 20 seconds behind that. So we're good. I mean, we're still physically in the lead. Race mile 165. Let's just go through Guatamote, Chanate, Amarillas, and Azufre, and let's just bring her to the finish in first place physically, and we'll figure out corrected time once we get there, right? Clean air. 2 miles after we leave the damn pit, the passenger side rear tire just explodes. Again, the bubble that most likely developed from me clipping this rock coming into the main pit ended up giving way, and so we get a flat tire. Javi tells me, hey, you know what? I think this was going to take a little bit longer. We're in a wash. And effectively, I think maybe Javi took a minute and a half to change this tire. I mean, this is the third flat. It's 4.5 minutes plus the re-rack. That's 5 minutes. And Javi changes the tire. Luke gets past us. Alan gets past us. And we get back on the road with zero spares. So now we're coming into Guatamote with no spares on the truck. We decide that it's probably for the best for us to just take it easy in Guatamote, loop back around to Chanate, and then get a spare with one of our pit support people who was at the end of Chanate. So for the next 40 miles, we're just cruising, just trying to get through the wash without suffering a flat. And Justin Lofton closed some time on us when we stopped to re-rack, another, say, 45 seconds, because Javi had to get out for that one. Justin gets by us, and we get going again with a spare tire on the rack, so we're good, we're confident again. We start going, but at this point, you just lost another 45 seconds plus 40 miles of maybe driving at 80%, so you're 6.5 minutes down in terms of just mistakes and unscheduled stops and stupid shit like that. So we get going, and they're like, hey, 70 concrete is about a minute 30 behind you. Well, a minute 30, he started 6 minutes. He's beating us by 4.5 minutes. It's 40 miles to go, 50 miles to go, less, probably 40 miles to go. And there's no way you're putting 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes on a trophy truck in 40 miles. So, again, we make peace with that. We're just going. We come down into this little canyon, and we see Justin, the 41, stopped. I think he kind of went past it, probably got caught in second or third gear. Mason trucks, you need to shut them down to, those trannies to get them back into reverse. So we were able to get around Justin. So we're back to third physically on the road. And that's, that's what we end up pushing to the finish line. Just, third physically. We knew obviously that Bryce, that Luke and Alan got us. They were physically in front of us. We knew that Justin got us. We knew that Concrete got us, and we're like, okay, well that puts us in fifth place at the finish line. Definitely not what we want. Top 5 seems okay after an extremely frustrating day with over 6.5 minutes lost and just bullshit. And then obviously Mr. Toby Price comes from 26th place and lands in 4th and pushes us down to 6th. And, it's just very disappointing that was the result. But that is definitely what we earned. We earned the 6th place. But it's a difficult pill to swallow because qualifying was amazing. The pre-run was amazing. I mean, we were flowing line to line, and did an amazing job. The boys did an amazing job in terms of setting up the pre-run, and it went really well. Confidence was high, and it just turning in a 6th place performance sucks. And that's, partially why I wait to do these things, because if I would have done it Sunday or Monday, you bring, your, again, like I said, your driver's skills into question. You bring a lot of these things that just go through your head that are not necessarily positive in a question, and it's not healthy. It's not healthy for me. It's not healthy for me to share with you. But that is the process. That is the process of what we go through, and that's the process of what we have to kind of digest after one of these events. There's only one guy in Trophy Truck that really doesn't go through this process at the end, and that's, for this race, that was Alan. And obviously the only thing that we can do is now kind of turn that page and focus on the Baja 500, focus on, qualifying well, focus on putting down an amazing pre-run, and focus on executing the plan for the Baja 500. So, like I said, it's difficult. I understand the frustration on everyone's part who's following us. As you can see in my tone of voice and my demeanor, you can definitely understand the frustration on my side, and just, it is what it is. We need to, they say we need to move on. We need to move on. That's in the past. There's nothing we can do. Turn the page and focus on what's next. And that's the plan here. But again, like I said, going from 1st to 6th, and having a lot of that be on my shoulders is hard. It's difficult, but we'll continue to work. We'll continue to test. We'll continue to get better, and we'll focus on the 500, and we'll see you there.